Hi, lovely people. This is Victoria, your child, teen, and family counselor out here in Brentwood, Tennessee. I had someone on Facebook ask me, how did you become a child and teen counselor? And so I thought it'd be fun to share my journey. So I would say that, well, first, I got a 4-year degree in liberal arts psychology. Here's my giant placard. Afterwards, I ended up getting my degree, my master's level degree. So at first I got my 4-year degree and then I got a 2.5-ish, I think it was 2.5 years, um, master's degree in marriage and family therapy. There are multiple tracks for counseling. You could do an LPC, licensed professional counselor. You could do, they call it mental health counselor or social work counseling degree. So those are the ones I'm aware of. There might be even more with, and oftentimes in these master's degrees you can have specialization tracks where you can select like school counselor specialization track, or you can do a play therapy specialization track, or working with certain mental health issues, or like working with the military special populations, right? So I got my like I said, my master's degree here. I thought that was kind of funny. So the cost of my master's degree was twice the amount of my bachelor's degree, and you saw the big placard, and then, my master's program gave me this. So I thought it was kinda funny. I got the privilege of graduating from, my university undergrad, was in Texas. Texas A&M was in a CACREPT accredited school, so it has the highest level of meets, the highest level expectations for university, so that was really important to me. And then my master's program also is CACREPT accredited, which means that it stands out from other universities where they went through a whole bunch of meeting expectations, a level of education, um, to be able to get the award of we are CACREPT accredited. So that was really important. Actually was the first graduation class that got to get that, certification, that we graduated under a really, uh, highly pristine program. I chose marriage and family therapy because I have over 10 years experience working with, before a counselor and becoming a counselor, working with, foster children, kids in residential treatment centers, and I saw that there was just this recycling of these kiddos that were just experiencing so much trauma, in their homes, and they would come to these residential treatment centers, get some partial healing, and feel good about themselves, and then go right back into the same systems at home. And I said, there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a way to help the families. So I did my research and I decided that marriage and family therapy was the lens I wanted to learn how to provide counseling. I don't see married couples um, at all, but I work a lot with parents and trying to get parents on board on, you want your child to change, but you need to change too. You need to look at your own parenting styles, your own stuff that you carry, your own anxieties, and evaluate how they reflect into your kids and how you can help contain those things and be a healthier version of yourself so you can help your kiddos change and support them at home. Something, this is not the way to explain it, but it is the way that I explain it. The lens of marriage and family therapy that we look through counseling is looking at systems and how a person is operating in the system and how the system is affecting and influencing the people, right? So, versus I come in for therapy and I have anxiety and there's something wrong with me, it's I'm struggling with anxiety, and we're going to take a look at not only myself, but how the system that I live in is operating and influencing my anxiety as well. And how can I be a healthy version of myself, and that how that will influence the system around me, um, versus I have a problem just with me. I feel like it's really healing. I love that approach. Um, helping parents, look, inviting them to look through that lens of, I'm not a bad parent. My kid is not a bad kid. they're struggling with some things, but what is the system that we have in place? Is the system working? Um, how can we, make changes in the system so that we have a new loop, a new healthier loop, a new healthier um, circle of events, right? After getting my most, so while in my master's program, you do what's kind of like a doctor's residency. I like to compare it to, in a sense. Clearly, it's not the same thing. I'm not a doctor, a medical doctor, but you're seeing clients and you're learning how to see clients while you're in class. My program, every program can be different. Absolutely. My program is we started seeing clients, if I remember correctly, as early as the middle of the second semester, right off the bat. And we are under supervision from our instructors. We're on being supervised while at whatever internship site that we're at. So, and we're learning techniques, right? And we're seeing clients. So, my program required 500 hours to be able to graduate. I graduated with, I want to say, almost 600 hours. And, this person who asked me about how did you become, specializing in children and teens, I picked internships sites that were focused on seeing children and teens. So I worked at an agency that did home visits, counseling, um, and in schools. So I'd go into the schools. Sometimes we'd be at the library. We'd go into people's homes, and we'd have family sessions. Um, it is not a job for the faint at heart. Uh, has its challenging, it has its safety issues. I've been in, neighborhoods where, families have shown me, "Look at the bullet holes that happened last week right here on our porch," type of scenarios, but I loved it. I love it. I loved it. I love the population. I love the being able to go into people's homes. Such a different dynamic, being able to interact with families, so I did that, and after my internship, I worked with them for almost a year and then jumped into private practice. Every state is different. So, for my program, for marriage and family therapy in my state, the requirement to become licensed is, first to get a temporary license, apply for a temporary license, and then, um, within a time frame, you have a certain time frame to take a, national test, the marriage and family therapy test, followed by the state, jurisprudence, which is the ethics exams by your own state. And during that time, no sooner than 2 years. So even if you finish the hours, client hour requirement within 2 years, uh, they're still not gonna give you a license before the 2-year mark. So, the requirement in the state that I'm at, which is the state in Tennessee, is 1,000 client hours. So you have to earn 1,000 hours of seeing clients, not 1,000 clients, but, hours, one-on-one or, family sessions, it doesn't matter. Um, Once you complete that, or as you're completing that, you're also required to be under supervision. So you pay for your supervision, or unless you work at a place where they're paying for it, by a marriage and family therapy supervisor. Um, so that's another financial investment that you make, and it's 200 hours that you are required to do, in addition to your 1,000 hours of, um, client hours. Then you turn in all of that stuff. You take your tests, you turn in all of that stuff, once you're done, and then your board will, review your application, and you'll be a licensed marriage and family therapist. Going back to specializing in teens and kids, every therapist's journey is different. I knew I wanted to work with kids because since I was in high school, I mentored kids. I was a PAL, peer assistant leadership, mentored elementary kids. I always knew from my own trauma work, that I experienced as a child, that I wanted to help kids. I was all about it. And then I worked at, like I said, I was a house parent in a group home for ages 10 to 18, in my early 20s, and I lived there with them. Uh, so I had about 10 of them, then I ran the house, so I got that experience. I worked at a pregnant teen center, I worked at, residential treatment centers, or boot camps, for lack of a better word. And that's what built my passion with working with kids and teens. And then in my journey to training, I'm constantly in training. I've spent thousands of dollars on specialized training for working with kids and teens, trauma informed training, anxiety specialized 40 hours of anxiety training. I've done over 100. I'm at like 150 hours worth of play therapy training. I also have done 2 experiential trainings, for meaning I went to go live in like a cabin for the weekend to learn all about play therapy, 2 of those. So I've done some family crisis trainings. I'm trying to think of all of them. Working with teens and ADHD, that was another 40-hour training. So I've spent an extensive amount of money niching down and perfecting my craft on working with kids and teens. And so that is how I am working, specializing with working with kids and teens. I hope that answered your question to the person who asked, how did I become the job that I do? Um, Future bucket list is hopefully by the end of this year, I'll be working on my PsyD in counseling. Um, so a PsyD doctorates in counseling with kids and teens. So that'll be in the future. Anyways, have a great one. Bye.